What's happening, people? I hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about branding, and if you've got a company, how like you're marketing your company and your brand and putting yourself out there. I say that because I most recently watched someone who's online and they've got good brand identity for a construction company, right? And that's rare to see because people don't know how to do it. Yeah, they put themselves on social. I'm talking a little bit more than social. I'm talking about vans, signposted, people coming into videos, always wearing your tops, la-di-la-di-la-di-la-di-la, blah, blah, blah. There's a few people that have put themselves out there like that, but some didn't reach the pinnacle. And I'll say it to you who it is, yeah? So I've seen Ashfield Construction put themselves, Ashfield Agriculture, sorry, I think that's their name, put themselves out there. I'm not from where he's from, so I don't know anything about him or anything, do you know what I mean? He's a person that's put themselves on the side of the vans, definitely got the brand awareness on lock. And I would say that, who's another one that tried to do it? Do you know who tried to do it, but it just didn't come across like that? What is his name? Artisan, right? He had a few people. It looked like it was building up. Started to get some little thing, but I don't know what happened. Again, I don't know him neither. And again, it's not. I'm not saying anything disrespectful towards them lot anyway. And who cares? I'm just using them as examples, right? So, in construction, it's very hard to be able to put yourself out there because marketing and where you need to market to, that target audience, it costs a lot to advertise to that audience, right? So by using social media and by leaving a digital footprint so people can find you online, allows you to be a little bit more accessible than the other people, right? That's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. That is always going to happen, and you always are going to look a little bit larger than life than your competitors because you're in other spaces where they're not. It benefits a lot of construction companies because when else do people see you or think about you as a possible candidate for their next job? They don't. That's why I started really doing social media, so I could put myself out there and so people could recognize my company for being a reputable plumbing company who does work. So I wanted to get that in people's head, let them see Mr. London Plumber doing work, Mr. London Plumber doing work, Mr. London Plumber doing work. And what people would associate me with is plumbing. So that works for me. So I'm happy that that happened for me, but I still need to make sure I'm still creating a good digital footprint online so others can see who have never come across me before, oh, he does this. Because I'm not the construction person that's got my name on the side of the van or anything like that. I've realized that at my point in my career, after 21 years, I meet enough people to make a good impact on them for them to be able to remember me. And when I say impact, I mean I'm good with communicating, but also being what that person asks me to be. So if it's a call out or something like that, I'll be very thorough, I'll be due diligent, I'll be tidy. I always leave my number, I always say like, yeah, give us a shout if there's any problems, blah, 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 blah. And from time to time, we do kind of like a little follow-up call with people sometimes. People that I've done work with before, try to keep as many customers being repeat customers as possible. Whether it's me asking them for a review on my business page, which I find that definitely does help. It definitely allows other people to see that, oh, okay, they do good work. It's, you know, a good way of someone seeing what you do. You know, if your customer's happy and all that, they're going to write you a nice review. It won't be a problem for them to write you a review because they was happy with the service, you was happy with the service. That is part of your digital footprint as well. And I get that the point that if you're trying to put your brand out there online, yeah, your digital footprint is going to be some of the comment section as well. You're going to get some haze, you're going to get some people saying bad things about you in the comment section, because this is what happens when you put yourself out there. Someone might see someone like yourself or someone like that and say, oh, how could that person know what they're talking about? You don't know, you've met them at this point, haven't you? Of course you have. And I find that that's a lot of people's problem, is that they meet people at a certain point in their career or something like that, and they make an assumption. They assume that this person couldn't know this or couldn't know that, or how's this person at this position and they're so young. I mean, I've seen it so many times. It's assumption, innit? Assumption in a lot of situations when you don't have solid grounds to be able to say something to someone is pretty stupid, you know, because you don't know where they've come from or what their intentions is, or what type of qualifications they've even got to be able to be at the place where they are. And don't get me wrong, I want to stay on track when I'm talking about this, putting yourself out there and branding. I feel that some brand deals can make you more money and less stress than actually doing any of the work. I want to say that again. Some brand deals can make you more money than doing the physical work in construction than it makes you by doing the work. I know that's a fact because there is so much money out there for branding, right? And if you get it right, it makes sense. But if it doesn't work out for you, you will never see that there's a light at the end of that tunnel, or possibly that you could get this from that. That's why I feel that some of those people who I mentioned at the beginning possibly went harder than others when it comes to branding and letting people understand who they are for people who don't know who they are. Because again, both of those people, I didn't know who they were before. I've never seen them out and about anywhere. I don't live in Cambridge and I don't know where Ashfield is, but it's not in London. He said he's from West London from before, but you don't live there no more. And I've been in Chelsea and stuff like that, and he said that he's been around there. I never see him. And I've been there for the last 3 years. I'm not trying to say he's not there. He's pretty much probably is there. I don't know. But he doesn't do no videos there and I don't see him there. So I'm going to assume that he's not there. That's how we have to take that. But he did say he come from that area, and kudos to him as well. Again, and the other one, which is Artisan, they're in Cambridge, if I'm not sure. If I'm not correct, sorry, if I'm not sure. I'm sure they're in Cambridge, which is out of London, so I wouldn't be going there at all. Bit too far from me, so I wouldn't be seeing them. I did see them online, and I saw them online a lot more because someone else told me about them. So yeah, kudos to those people as well, because I think those people kind of saw marketing and branding and tried to align themselves before the big deals kind of came, the big investments from companies, because anyone would tell you who's half smart that these companies are going to invest within these construction companies because we do stuff and we're in parts of the industry which is necessary, you know, like there's not going to be a time when people in construction are going to be replaced by AI or anything like that, you know. It's constantly going to be those people turning up. That is going to be a high paid job in the future. Remember, I've told you that being in construction, it's hard to replace that physical labor, hands-on work. It needs to be done, especially a plumber as well, man. I don't know if you guys have never ever searched that before, but it's high up on there because I know people have thought about, you know, how that's gonna happen. But my point of making this video is just that to get you with the mindset thinking that putting yourself out there is a good thing. Branding and identity when it comes to construction companies can be a make or a break for them. And sometimes when some people do it, it doesn't mean that it's gonna bring them all of the fruits of for their labor. Like, those two people, I didn't hear them talk and say that the branding had changed their company or skyrocketed them into a different place. But a fool could tell you that it's working. An absolute idiot could tell you that it's working for them, and they're gaining some type of traction from it because they had to have been. It's like I said, you don't get a lot of eyes on you for no reason. And I know that I don't do major branding. Well, I do major branding stuff. What am I talking about, man? I've done an advert for VW and I'm the only plumber with my logo t-shirt in the video. Only. National TV, everything. It's been on Sky, all of that. That was big branding for me. I know what that meant for me and my company. Opening doors, right? So I know that these other people that are having their opportunities, what they're getting, and they're opening doors, for sure. For sure. I just want other people to realize that, you know, it's an interesting conversation to think that sometimes if you don't get that mixture right of putting yourself out there, branding, and your company itself, it could all be wasted. You could be doing it for no reason. But there's got to be strategy to the marketing. There's got to be an idea and an execution and a goal, obviously, as well, innit? There's got to be a goal, innit? The goal's got to be to generate more business from the marketing or the brand identity. And that is something that people do, obviously, innit? There's different ways, and people saying how they used to, you know, get their next client or customer. I remember listening to one of those people talking in their little, they had an interview and they were saying, you know, they didn't have a portfolio book, so they was only able to show people the most recent job, what they're on, and invite them down to the job so they can have a little look and so they could be impressed by the postcode, what the people are working in. I guess some of it worked for them, but that's not going to work on everybody. And still at that point, they still needed someone to give them a chance, which was interesting, you know, because you do need one person to give you a chance in that, to give you good cash flow, to give you a project which is worthy about speaking about, or something which is worth speaking about on your website or something like that. Do you get it? Like, did such and such project with such and such. That will be like a pinnacle point. Like, I remember one of the projects which I've done years and years ago. I've got, 5 of my friends on it, and that was the project which tips me over so I could start some YouTube, but also made me realize that I could do these big jobs, you know. People come to me for a reason. They come to me for a reason because I'm a person who's reputable. I'm a person who, I do what I say. I'm like Ron Seal, I does what it says on the tin. If you ask me to do something and I can do it and it's doable, guess what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done for you. That's what I do. So that works in my favor, and I just want to know what you guys think about branding, putting yourself out there, because we've all got different thoughts on it, you know, like, oh, I'm not into, so people are going to say, oh, I'm not into social media. Well, that's your business, isn't it? Like, I always hear people say that, but branding is not just social media, it's other things, you know. There are many other things that we could do to brand our identity when it comes to our company and what we do, but people look at it from one perspective, you know. So I just want to get people's thoughts, because I know there's loads of different people who are subscribed to my channel. You might have a small plumbing company, you might have a small construction company. I would like to hear from you guys, because you're the real people who I make this content for, you know. Remember, I'm already doing a lot of this branding, and I have been doing it for a while, trying to get myself my digital footprint online, making my stamp out. And to make these videos better for you guys, I would always like to key down on certain things which I know people would take my experience and learn from it and put it in their own twist. So yeah, I would like to definitely hear from you guys on what you think about this subject, because I don't hear people talking about none of the stuff I talk about anyway. I'm very unique because I don't try, if I'm gonna make up some content, it's gonna be fire content. That's it. And we're trying to get to the truth to see if you need those things to be able to be successful today, because we all want to cut shortcuts and get to the point, but getting to the point means that we've got to find out all the other steps before we do it. And this is one step that we should talk about: digital marketing and networking, but also branding, innit? This branding for construction companies, is it necessary nowadays? It's not, we can't just go to the cafe and expect people to contact us. You know what I mean? No one in the cafe with normal t-shirts on has got their number on the back, you know? But their phone's still ringing, but they work for other people. Anyway, let's get into that in the comment section below. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next upload. Let's get it.